it. This guy spoke with such conviction, and he looked me right in the eye, that I just knew he had something special. And he really did. Now, I can honestly say 60 years later, that was without question the best day of my life. Because I was going in the wrong direction. Not doing anything really terrible, just dumb moves. Dumb moves that was taking me nowhere. I was doing nothing with my life. It was a mess. And when I started to do that, it brought order to my life. And everything began to change. Now, you'll see up there we have 1961 to 2022. That just goes with it, because this is the year. We're starting our 61st year today. And so that slide will ride until the 21st of October next year. We're going to keep on going. And if you're really into what we're teaching, and you're a part of this organization, we're going to be having a special seminar that you'll hear about in 2000 and around the end of 2033, because we're going to be holding a special seminar in Vegas on my 100th birthday. And I fully intend to be there teaching it. Now, let's get into this. We'll throw this up full screen for a moment. We're talking about the money frequency. The money frequency is wherever you are when you're in harmony with it, because it's omnipresent. It's omnipresent. That means 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Now, there's no end to what you're capable of doing. But you've got to make the decision to step out and do it. There's the man, Ray Stanford, and he sure did impact my life. You can do what he's done. I made up my mind I was going to do what he did with me, with everybody that I come in contact with, and I have. And he's holding my son, Raymond Douglas Proctor. We named him after Ray, who is grown up now and has a family of his own. My mindset has been responsible for what I'm doing. The power is within you. It's always there. It never leaves. It's 100% evenly present with you at all times. It's what you do with it that makes the difference. I'm going to introduce you to a lady here later on, not too long, who locked into this idea and everything changed in an enormous way. She made a big decision. Now, she built a mindset that gave her and her family a whole different way of life. You can do that. That's what I did. If people ask me, what did you do? And I said, I built a mindset that changed everything. See, it's your mindset. It's what's going on inside that dictate what's going on outside. Now, my mindset has given me a life that most people just dream of living. God, I've got a phenomenal life. I really do. I get everything I want. I do everything I want. I really do. I earn more money than I ever dreamed of earning. You can do that. You see, mindset will do the same for you. And it seems to be the secret that people are looking for. Remember I told you I asked Earl Nightingale at the end of a 1-hour meeting with him. I said, Earl, what's the secret? You know, what is it? Because you talk about people changing. Well, he said, there isn't any secret, Bob. He says, it's a simple matter of figuring out what you love to do and then dedicate your life to it. Well, you know, the way he said it, it resonated with something in my mind. And I knew right there and then how I was going to spend the rest of my life. Because I know exactly what I'd love to do. He said, the problem with most people is they never take the time to think of what they love doing. I wanted to do what he was doing. And I made up my mind I was going to do what he was doing. Because he put a message on a record and it changed millions of lives all around the world. Now, 60 years later, I mentioned earlier, I know that I could put an ad in the newspaper in Seoul, Korea, or in Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia, or in Stuttgart in Germany. I know I could put ads in the paper there that I'm going to run a seminar, and I could fill a ballroom in those places. Why? Because I started to do exactly what he was doing. I got a great mentor. I've had great mentors, and I followed what they were teaching me. Now, here's something that I began studying a long time ago. This is phenomenal. My mind is a center of divine operation. I want you to think about that. I want you to really think about this. My mind is the center of divine operation. How could you say that? Well, the divine operations always for expansion and fuller expression. And your mind's the center of it. Where's mind? Mind is everywhere. Mind is movement. And your mind is the center of divine operation. That means there's as much of this power in front of you as there is behind you. There's as much above as there is below. There's as much your right as there is on your left. You're talking about something very, very big. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. That means when you get locked into the divine side of your own nature, you're always going to grow because that's the only way it wants to go. This means the production of something beyond what's gone before. You're not going to just duplicate what you've done in the past. This is the production of something beyond what's gone before. Something entirely new. Not included in your past experience, although it's proceeding out of your past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner in me. Consequently, in my special world of which I am the center, it will always move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that's gone before. Now, since we play this for you, we record it, you can go back and watch it. I would suggest that, put this full screen for a minute, Tommy. I would suggest you watch this or take your phone and take a picture of that. Take your phone and take a picture of that. I'm going to leave it up there for 60 seconds, Tommy. That'll give them time to get their phone and take a picture of that. And I want you to start reading that every day for the next 30 to 60 days. If you do, that in itself is going to have an impact in your life. Take a picture of that with your phone. Begin reading it every day. My mentor wrote that. All right? Pay attention to it. Now let's look here. We did this before. It's so well put. There's the conscious mind. That's where your wants come from. You can have everything you want. Okay? Now, your subconscious mind is the universal side of your mind. When you are playing with the subconscious, you're playing with universal intelligence. In other words, your vibration, the vibration you're in, is connected to whatever you want. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be on the opposite side of the globe. It doesn't make any difference. Your desire is going to dictate where you're going to go. Desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibilities seeking within, seeking expression without through your action. See, the desire is expressed with and through the body. The body is the instrument of the mind. It manifests in results, and results always tell the truth. Now, here's another way of looking at it. There you are, and there's a power flowing into your consciousness. As this power flows into your consciousness, you think. You think. Thoughts, you send speeding off into the universe. Thought is energy. Thought is energy. And you send those thoughts into the universe, you know what the universe does? It sends them back to you. But you also send those thoughts to your subjective mind. So you see, while you're sending them to your subjective mind, you've sent them to the universe starts to send them back to you. Your feelings are expressed, not just through your body, but you send those feelings off, and they, of course, they come back at you. But those feelings then are expressed with and through the physical body. How you feel is vitally important, and you control your feelings. Keep yourself feeling in a great vibration. Now, those feelings are expressed through the body in actions, and they produce the results that you're getting. Those actions come back. So here you are, 1, 2, 3. That's attitude. That's attitude. It produces results. Your attitude is your position or bearing is indicating thoughts, feelings, and actions. Very important. Very important. Now let's understand this. When paradigms stay in control, nothing changes. Absolutely nothing changes. You'll see people living much the same day in, day out for years. I love the way that he put this before he left us. He says, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm doing today? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. I think everybody should follow that. Now, I'm going to share with you the most valuable idea I've ever learned here. The most valuable idea I've learned in this book by Napoleon Hill that I've been reading every day now for 60 years. It's just one idea from this chapter. It's been responsible for me earning millions of dollars. Now look here. This is right out of Think and Grow Rich. It's the first page of chapter 8 on decision. I want you to listen carefully. I'll read it and you can read it at the same time, but listen. Analysis of several hundred people. These people are giants of the world in his day. They're the ones that are running big corporations, or they're super successful at whatever they were doing. Analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing those decisions slowly, if and when they were changed. People who fail to accumulate money, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly, and of changing those decisions quickly and often. That's what losers do. They decide to do this today and then change it and do something else tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Now look here. There's Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. Andrew Carnegie was the man that was responsible for Napoleon Hill writing this book. Andrew Carnegie, around 1903, was the wealthiest man in the world. He came to America from Scotland when he was just a boy. and they were very poor. They had nothing. He became the wealthiest man in the world. One day in 1903, Napoleon Hill was a young reporter for a little magazine, and the editor decided they would run an article on wealthy people. Hill got to spend 3 hours with Andrew Carnegie. He got an appointment with Andrew Carnegie. And he spent 3 hours with him, interviewing him. It must have been a fascinating time. But at the end of the 3 hours, Andrew Carnegie said, "This interview isn't just beginning, ending." He said, "This interview is just beginning." He said, "I want you to come home with me." And he took him home, and Hill said he was glad he did because he didn't have enough money to rent a hotel room. And he spent 3 days sharing with Napoleon Hill everything that he had learned in his life. Now, why did he do that? He had been looking for someone to write a book. And he decided Hill would be the guy to do it, if he wanted to. So at the end of the 3 days, he said to Napoleon Hill, he said, "Napoleon Hill, I'm going to ask you a question. And I just want a yes or a no answer. That's it, a yes or a no answer." He said, "Would you dedicate the rest of your life to an idea for which you may receive no material compensation for at least 20 years? That's a big question. Well, look at this. In 29 seconds, Hill said, "Yes, I will." Now, this was critical because Andrew Carnegie had a stopwatch in his hand under the desk. He was sitting at a desk. He had given him 60 seconds to answer the question. If he answered it if he took more than 60 seconds, Carnegie wasn't interested in him. See, Carnegie knew, here's the wealthiest man in the world, he knew when it comes to major decisions, if you can't make them immediately, then you're on the wrong track. When John Kennedy asked Dr. Wernher von Braun, as we talked about earlier in the week, what it would take to build a rocket to carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth, he answered him in 10 seconds. He said the will to do it. That's all it would take. Because you see, they knew that if you had the idea in your mind, you don't have to know how to do it. It doesn't matter where the funds are going to come from. It doesn't matter where the resources are going to come from. If you have the idea, he said the will to do it. The will gives you the ability to hold the idea in your mind. And if you hold that idea in your mind, that's your mindset. And your mindset dictates the vibration you're in, and that dictates what you attract. So if you're looking for the money frequency, baby, it's inside yourself. You got to build the image in your mind and then hold it. Then he said to Napoleon, Napoleon, he said, you've taken on a big chore. And he says, there's going to be all kinds of times in your life when you're going to want to give up. Everything in you is going to want to quit. I'm going to give you an affirmation. I want you to write it out. I want you to write every word and underline every word. And here it is. You're going to be saying, Andrew Carnegie, I'm not only going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Andrew Carnegie, I'm not only going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Now, here's a little reporter that was broke. He's talking to the wealthiest man in the world, and he's supposed to say that every day? He threw his pencil on the ground. He says, now, you know darn well that's not going to happen. Carnegie said, I know it's not, Napoleon, unless and until you burn it into your subconscious mind. And if you do that, everything else will happen. Hill seemed to have gotten the idea, and away he went. He made a decision. Now, we have an opportunity here at the Proctor Gallagher Institute that's similar to the one Andrew Carnegie gave Napoleon Hill. You see, in 1973, when I had made a commitment that I was going to build a company that operated all over the world, I had no idea how I was going to do it. And I struggled for 15, 20 years. I really did. It was just touch and go. You'd earn enough just to keep going. But I believed I would attract everything I need. It was about 15 years ago. A lady came to a seminar in Vancouver, Washington. She was a securities attorney, worked for one of the top law firms in the country. She would buy and sell banks, turn them public. I mean, this was heavy work that she was doing. But what she heard in that seminar, she said she never heard ever before. And all of a sudden, that's something she wanted. She began studying her material. Ultimately, she became partner in the company of Sandy Gallagher. Changed everything. She had to make a big decision. Well, I'm going to introduce you to a lady now that made a big decision. She was a vice president in IBM. That's a big decision, a big position to be in. But she left that to do what we're doing. Now, first, she worked on her own. I'm going to get her to tell you the story. Her name is Julie Ciardi. So I want you to welcome Julie Ciardi. There she is. Hi, Julie. How are you?
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you. It's nice to have you on here.
Always an honor. Thank you.
Tell me, how do you enjoy what you're doing?
I think I said earlier to you, it's like I pinch myself that this is my life.
Do you want to know something, Julie? That's how I've felt for many years. And that's how you feel when you get up and go to work.
I can't even call it work, Bob.
Well, when you're doing what you love, you can't call it work. People that call work, they're doing something they don't love or don't like. Julie, you quit IBM to become a coach. Why did you do that? What got you the idea of coaching?
I knew that just like you say, you don't know what that next step is and you don't know how it's all going to play out. I just had this deep burning desire that I knew I wanted to make more impact and I wanted to have a more purpose-driven, line of work. I didn't know what that was going to look like though at all. And, when you talk about making decision, it's making decision without evidence. And I just knew that I wanted to create my own business. It was this burning desire. And I knew that if I didn't make the decision, I'd look back with regret, for sure.
And so away you went.
Yes. After 20 years in corporate, though, it's funny, right? Like if I could go back, I would have, done it sooner, but it happened when it happened. But it started with, you talk about decision. To me, the piece right before a decision is to know that I'm responsible completely for the life that I had. And I think once I really understood that I wasn't trapped, I thought I was trapped in kind of how you're supposed to work. You're supposed to have a good job and a great company, getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. So I felt very stuck. And it wasn't until I realized that only I had the responsibility to get myself unstuck did I finally make that decision. And then once the decision was made, it was, go. But it took 2 decades to get there. And I'm hoping that anyone that's watching that, knows in their heart that there's something else they were destined to do like this, don't wait as long as I did.
Well, something you said there just a minute ago, Julie, that you became aware you are responsible for your life. That is one of the greatest things that we'll ever become aware of. And a lot of people are not aware of that. They're blaming the country, the president, their prime minister, or whatever. They're blaming the company. They're blaming something for where they are. and they don't realize they are responsible for where they are. You're coaching people now all the time. Is that something you make them aware of right away?
Yes. In fact, your article on responsibility, I will have clients read that for 30 days in a row. Kind of like, my mind is a center and reading that over and over again so it sinks in. I want people to know as they're going into creating the life, the business, the wealth, whatever it is that they want, that they're the only one responsible for it. Otherwise, right, I can't help them. I can't guide them unless they've made that decision that they're responsible. So I guess that's like the first decision, right? The first decision is that only you are responsible. That's what I like for my clients to really understand.
Now, you had your own coaching company, and then you joined PGI, Procter Gallagher Institute, as a consultant. What made you change?
I was coaching women, loving it. Some women would be getting results, others weren't getting the same results. And I always knew it was the mindset that was the most important piece, but I didn't feel like I had the right tools to help them because I was an unconscious competent. And so it's really hard to teach somebody what you did if you don't understand what you did. So for me, after I came to a masterclass just like this, I listened. I had made the decision before Thursday. I knew before going into it, honestly. And I heard you and I said, this is how I can teach people because this is what I did. So it was almost like it got revealed to me how I actually did it so that I could teach others. And I knew right then and there. So how PGI, teaches thinking into results and how to create the results that you want in your life. I knew it was the blueprint, the blueprint for my clients. And it's 100% been that. It's been life-changing for everybody.
When did you start with this, Julie?
March.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple of personal questions?
Please.
What have you earned since March?
Oh, wow. So over 500,000 since March.
Someone heard Arash Vusaga here the other day mention that he had earned over 100,000 in a week. I would imagine you've earned over 100,000 in a week, have you?
Yes. In fact, when I first brought this material and, this to my clients, people, they say, when you hear the truth, it resonates. And I think it resonated so much that everyone was like, yes, we need this. In 1 week, my company brought in $330,000 because this resonated so strongly.
Well, you say when you hear the truth, you'll know it. There's a reason for that. When you hear the truth resonates with the essence of who you are. You are pure, unadulterated spirit. Your mind is the center of divine operation. Well, when you hear the truth resonates with the essence of who you are. It sets up a vibration inside that creates something we call knowing, and you just know it's right. You've done very well financially. Tell me one or two stories where you really impacted somebody's life.
Oh, you know what it is, Bob? It's helping people get through their fear. So once we understand that, they're responsible for their life and they're going to make a decision, then it's following through and getting through the fear. And so we have had several women since June is when I really first brought this to my clients and building clients that have, decided to leave their day jobs, to leave their corporate careers to pursue what really lights them up. And I have seen other women, so some women have used it for things like that to start businesses, and then other women who have seen massive, beautiful changes in their marriages, which gives me, the chills. Or even for myself, here I am, having my business. I've already left corporate, but this work has changed my relationship with my son, who's 16. And I was sharing with you, Bob, that he wrote an essay in his English class on his synopsis of Think and Grow Rich, and why, what he thinks the meaning of the book is all about. And I mean, I would never be having these kinds of conversations that are life-changing for my children, for my son, if it wasn't for this work. So there's so many stories, but it's for me personally, it's for so many of the women that are that are clients of mine. And I think the biggest thing is that women are seeing like my clients are seeing what's possible. My son is seeing what's possible. And that is probably one of the most exciting things that I get to do.
Well, I have watched this over the greatest part of my entire life. I started into this when I was 26 years old, Julie. And I will be 88 on my next birthday. That's a long time. That's a lifetime of just absolutely incredible things happening. I have met a lot of Julie Ciardi's in my life in this. Men that were in positions that were very responsible and they were earning fairly good money, but they weren't happy. It wasn't what they want. They weren't living the way they really wanted to live. And as I heard your story and got talking to you before, we've had the good fortune of meeting before, I realized that you had a marvelous position, but you weren't happy. And now you're living the way you want. You're earning all kinds of money. And people say money's not important. That's ridiculous. Money's vitally important in the area that it's used. You can help a lot of other people. You can help yourself. And I have watched phenomenal changes take place. So, Julie, I want to really thank you for coming on here, because I know there's a lot of people listening to us. And they're thinking what I was thinking when I met Earl Nightingale. I want to do what you're doing. There's men and women sitting thinking, I want to do what Julie's doing. God, I'd love to do what Julie's doing. If I could only earn what Julie's earning. Listen, you can do whatever you want, and you can earn whatever you want. Get rid of the idea that it's too much for you. This is so important. So, Julie, I want to thank you for coming on, and keep doing the good work you're doing. You're helping a lot of people. You're waking people up to the truth about who they are and how they're capable of living. And that's what this is all about. I spent a long time, Julie, trying to figure out why I was winning. I was the unconscious competent, like you were talking about. I was winning, but I didn't know why. It took me a number of years, about 9 years really, to find out what really changed. Now, I could say the book, but it was something inside. And when I found out, all I wanted to do was teach it. I wanted to teach it to other people so that they would be able to go out and do the same thing I was doing. And that's what you're doing now, Julie. You're doing the same things Bob's doing. And I know how happy you are because I know how I am. And I know what you're capable of earning because I'm doing the same thing. Money, the money frequency, is wherever you are. And you know that. You see, the frequency changes inside. When you change the inside, the outside automatically changes. So, Julie, thanks again for coming on. And if you have time, I'd like to invite you back again in the future.
Would love it. Thank you so much, Bob. And everybody, make that decision. You already know. Your soul knows. So make that decision.
Julie, there's someone sitting and they really want to do this. And they're having trouble with the decision. What would you tell them?
What do you have to lose?
Good point.
That's it. You know, I mean, there's something inside of you. It's your soul. It's your inner truth that knows you have nothing to lose. And I cannot think of a worst place to be at wherever you are in your life and have regret, no matter what age you are. To have regret, I can't. That's when it's our choice. No. So you know what is the worst thing that can happen, and just know that whatever that is, it's kind of where you are now. That's the worst thing that can happen, is you stay where you are. So if that's what you're already living. So why not make possibility for yourself to go after this? So what have you got to lose? I always ask myself that. And it's basically to stay where you are, or worse, because as we know, you don't actually stay where you are. Just go for it. That's what I would say.
Thanks, Julie. Where do you live, Julie?
I'm in New York,
Whereabouts?
about an hour and a half north of Manhattan.
Good. Well, thanks again for being here, Julie, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future.
My pleasure. Thanks,
Okay,
Bob.
thank you. Now let's keep looking here. We're talking about making a decision. Look here for a moment. I want you to really pay close attention to this. Okay, so we're going to keep this full screen so you can really, there's a great lesson here. There's a lesson here that you want to burn into your mind. Every frequency is connected to the one above and the one below. That is very important. And I tell you why, and I told you before, that enables you to move from one frequency to another. Just like on a skating rink, zip and away you go. Now look it. This is one of the most important things you'll ever learn. I want you to let that represent my phone. We talked about this before, and I'm going to tie this into your decision in a minute. I want you to let this represent your phone. Now, all I have to do is hit send if I have your number in my phone. If your number's in my phone and I hit send, bang, I'm connected. Now, you may be busy, so I won't get talking to you, but I'm still connected to your phone. And you know I've connected to your phone. That's if I have your phone number. If I don't have your phone number, I can't connect. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If I have your phone number, bang, like that, we're connected. Whatever you want, it's in the universe. If you are in harmony with it emotionally, you'll connect. But you've got to be in harmony emotionally. You can't be disturbed and upset and focused on present results and connect to something greater and better. You cannot do that. You've got to act like the person you've got to become. You want to become. You've got to hold the image of the good that you desire. Now look it. To some degree, you understand this about the telephone. We have this understanding. However, when it comes to life, we get lost. We don't get it. Why? Because we weren't taught it. I'm teaching it to you now. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm very good at this. I'm not much good at anything else, but I've told you that before. I don't want to do anything else. This is all I want to do. I want to teach this to people, wake them up so they start living the way they want to live. Wherever you are, if I have your number, I will connect to your phone. Remember that. Now look here. Pay really close attention. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. Okay? Levels of vibration are referred to as frequencies. We think, that's very important. We think on frequencies. So here's our thoughts. Pop, 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 pop. They produce our results. So we're sitting with the results we're getting. If we're not happy with them, we'll sit and daydream. We build an image, gosh, that's what I'd really like. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do what Julie did. I'm going to do what Bob did. I'm going to do this. I am going to do this as soon as I get the money. I'm going to do this right after my birthday. I'm going to start doing this first of the year. I'm going to do this. That's when I'm going to do it. As soon as I get the money, right after the first of the year. And pretty soon the decision fades, and so does the goal of doing it. Now, what's the matter here? I'm going to show you exactly where the problem is. We're living down here on this frequency. We're down here on this frequency. What we want is way up here. That is like turning the AM frequency on your radio and getting upset because you're not getting FM music. You're never going to get FM music on your AM frequency. The FM frequency is much higher than the AM. Your mind and thoughts must operate on the same frequency as your goal. That's when you start to see yourself already with it. You're focused. You're already with it. Now stay here with me. Stay. Okay? Watch. You're down here. You've got to make a committed decision you're going to do that. Hill made a committed decision to Andrew Carnegie. It was a committed decision. When you make a committed decision, you start to think and act like the person you want to become. Now look at, you want to think and act like the person you want to become. When you do that, this stuff down here is gone. When you make the committed decision, you think and act like the person you want to become. You're thinking on the higher frequency. You may only do it for a few minutes, but it feels so good, you know it. You call it daydreaming. It's not reality. No, this is reality. All that other stuff is a nonsense. You think and act. Look it. This is the only prerequisite, is do you want it? It doesn't matter where the money's coming from. It doesn't matter how you're going to get it. I was thinking this morning, knowing I was doing this class, when Linda and I bought our house. That was 40 years ago. Well, I was in the house for my 50th birthday, and I'm 87, so it was 37 years ago. We didn't have any money. I was still struggling. We had met our financial genius, Sandy. We had $5,000, and I said, give that to them and tell them you want to buy the house. And the agent said, they're not going to accept that. They're not going to accept $5,000 down on that house. I said, listen, you're the agent. Go sell them on the idea. Tell them I want to buy the house, and that's the deposit. She said, I don't think they're going to accept it. Well, not with the attitude you've got, they're not going to accept it. You go there expecting them to accept it. Well, she came back and she said, I don't know how in the hell they did it, but they accepted it. We had to come up with $100,000 in a very short period of time. I don't know, it was 90 days, 80 days, 60 days. I had no idea where that $100,000 was going to come from, but you know something? On closing day, I had the $100,000. You will always attract what you need. All you have to do is want it. You've got to get in that vibration. You've got to think and act like the person you want to become. Want is the only prerequisite. That is why successful people make decisions so fast. That's why von Braun said, all it'll take, President Kennedy, is the will to do it. That's what Andrew Carnegie taught Napoleon Hill. That is also why everything happens the way it does. Now think. All you need is the will to do it. Now, Arash Musagi has talked to probably thousands of people who've gone through what Julie Ciardi went through, making her big decision. I'm going to ask Arash to spend a little more time today sharing with you what you need to do. This is so good, you cannot pass this up. We work with people all over the world. I don't care where you are in the world. We will train you. We will show you how to do this. I encourage everybody to do what I'm doing. My God, I just have the most phenomenal life doing this. I want to thank everybody in our company that has committed themselves to my dream. Their dream is very much in harmony with mine. And we have some phenomenal people in this company, and I'm going to tell you, they're here to help you. We are all here to help the Julie Ciardi's of our company. So Arash, or maybe Mikey will bring Arash in. I'm going to turn this over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. You know, the first thing I think of when listening to this lesson on decision, I'm going to get into the importance of decision in a moment, but listening to Julie, and I've had the pleasure to meet her a few times, it takes me back to when I was getting mentored by Bob. Bob used to always tell me, this idea has used me. And at first I didn't know what that meant until I started going deep into the work and deep into mindset. And I'm sure Julie could really relate to that, and everybody who's an avid student. You know, this is such an amazing opportunity. Like Bob said, it's similar to the one that Napoleon Hill got from Andrew Carnegie, because it's a life commitment to serve people. And I believe that's what we're here to do anyway. We're on this planet to serve. And, you know, Julie, you can tell, everybody can watch her energy and it just lights up. When we're doing what we love, it lights up. And that idea has used her, and I know it has used me, and I definitely know it's used Bob, that he's dedicated the last 60 years of his life doing this every day. Now, I share it with you guys because what idea is using you right now? I want you to think about that. What is my goal? What is it that I really want? See, we went into goals earlier, and I go back to goals because our goals are our best accountability partner, because they tie into decisions so well, because every day we have to make a decision. Like this morning, I woke up and I had to make a decision that I already had achieved my goal. We're making decisions, whether we're making them for us or against us every day, you know, because nothing moves until we make a decision. Now, when Bob's talking about this is the most valuable lesson that he's learned in all his years, I would pay close attention to that. You know, when he talks about Andrew Carnegie giving Napoleon Hill 30 seconds. It takes me back to a story that, you know, Bob taught me several years ago, and I share it every time I'm talking about decision. I share it because you have these shifts that just jolt you, and that's what it was. And he said, you know, Rush, I want you to teach everybody you're in contact this. And I said, sure, what is it? He said, people come to me all the time. They say, can you help me create financial independence? Can you help me create the business of my dreams, the house, the relationship? And Bob said, I always told them, absolutely, I can. However, there's a prerequisite. You have to act on the decision within 30 seconds. He said, if you don't act on it, you let the idea stay stillborn, and you tell the universe to keep you stuck in reverse. And he said, a lot of people think it's harsh, but the big things in life, the successes is not for lightweights, he told me. He says, you have to have the courage. See, when you guys are sitting there, think about a decision right now that you made that just absolutely changed your life for the better. When you went with full faith, you had to step into the unknown, like Julie was talking about, and like what Bob and I have talked about all week, that changed your life. See, if you want to make magical things happen, you can do it. Bob has told you on several occasions that you can have anything you want. Now, this event this week, the money frequency, we want to help you create the amount of money you want in your life and doing what you love, because when you do what you love, the money naturally comes. But you have to accept that idea, and that's what decision making is. Now, the most powerful part that I want to tell you, there's a couple things about decision making. If you don't make decisions fast, just understand and remind yourself, understanding is the key to freedom, that you're allowing your paradigm to make the decision for you. And when you allow your paradigm to make the decision for you, you're never going to go further than you are right now. I really want you to understand that. You guys got to get this. If you are not making decisions fast. You're letting the paradigms make the decision. And when you let the paradigms make the decision, you're not going to go any further than you are. And you could just look back at your life from the times when you really said, I am doing this no matter what. And this brings me to a great quote that I love, that I have really modeled my life after when I heard it, because this was such an important, it had such an emotional impact on me. And it's a quote by Dr. Kenneth Blanchard. He says, there's a difference between being interested in creating the life we want and being committed. When we're interested, we do what's convenient. When we're committed, we do whatever it takes. We accept only results, not excuses. Now, going back to your goal, are you interested or are you committed? Are you going to be in integrity with your decision, or are you going to let the paradigm overcome it and say, oh, I'm not sure I can do it. How can it happen? And if you do that, that's fine. That's your choice, but you're not going to win. Bob, there's something Bob and I talk about all the time. Winners win, and the people lose find a way to lose because they sabotage themselves. And I always share this with my clients. I said, I didn't make the rules, but to win, you have to have courage. You have to go out on that ledge. You have to say, I am doing this. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So I encourage you to really go after what you want, really go deep into decision-making, and really give yourself a chance to win. We have a great opportunity here where you're going to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself, where Bob, our company, our whole team helps you with an amazing training on building your own coaching business. And, Bob, myself spoke last night about it. And we're also going to offer anybody who acts on this decision. And Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it by Monday? Monday, if they act on the decision?
By Monday at midnight Eastern, which is the same time that the replays come down.
Okay, so by Monday, you're going to get 2 months of masterclass with us. And what masterclass is a very high-level mentorship program with Bob, where it's every week for 2 hours. And Bob is really deconstructing his process of how he went from failure to success. Now, why that is so important, we were talking about earlier this week that 95% of success is mindset. Imagine you are just getting that mindset training every week on top of this business that this magical business that you have the opportunity to create. It's just going to set you up to win at such a high level. Now, I want to really be very upfront and transparent about this. It's for the people who decide to go in the consulting, and I want to finish this before I give the exercise. Mentorship has changed my life. I know mentorship has changed Bob's life, and you could tell it's changed Julie's life and many others. But I want you guys to really understand finding the right mentor and committing to do their mentorship the way they modeled it and surrender to their process. Don't stop. Don't start and then go to the next shiny object. When you surrender to the mentor, that's how your life changes. And that's why it's the little things compounded over time that create the big results. And I encourage you to bet on yourself, bet on Bob, bet on our company, because we will be the conduit to show you guys exactly what to do and how to do it so you're not by yourself. Now, before I turn it over to Tommy, I want to give you guys the exercise, and it's going to be on decision. We're going to send you an article that Bob wrote on decision. It is a fabulous article. And I want you to read it 3 times a day today. And then I want you to put the biggest takeaways you got. And I want you to think, how do I make decisions? When we're making a decision, if we want to go further, we can't make it based on how we've always made it. We have to really allow ourselves, like Bob was talking about, to act on the decision within 30 seconds. Really act on it. Get really inspired by what you're doing because we're trading our life for it. And then I want you guys to act on one decision or more. You can act on more that is going to get you closer to your goal. All right, Tommy, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you, Arash. Hi, everyone. Tommy here, and I am very happy to be back with you today. Let's land this plane. Okay, you have another high-impact assignment today, and this one can be the most powerful action you have taken all week. So make sure that you dive into it right away. Now, I want to reiterate the bonus offer that we announced a little bit earlier. For those who decide to invest in the PGI consultant business by this Monday night, October 25th, you will receive the 2 free months in Bob Proctor's Masterclass program. This is a phenomenal opportunity that we are so happy to offer as a reward to all of the quick decision makers here who are ready to start your very own coaching business as a PGI consultant. Now, there is only one way to enroll as a PGI consultant, and that is by having a conversation with a PGI Success Advisor. To book a call with a Success Advisor to talk about becoming a consultant with us, or to find out about getting involved with one of our other programs here at PGI that might be a even better fit for you, just click on the link in the description of this video, fill out the form, and your advisor or their assistant will reach out to book a call with you. If you are already in contact with your advisor, you can also just reach out however you have been communicating. If you have not made contact yet or don't know who your advisor is, still just click the link in the description below, fill out the form, and they will be in touch. Also, if you are on Facebook Messenger, be sure to check your message request folder because your Success Advisor may be trying to get in touch with you there. All of our PGI Success Advisors are on Facebook Messenger, so you can also feel free to reach out to them directly with any questions or support you may need, or to book a call to talk about becoming a consultant. Now, tomorrow is going to be another amazing day. We are going to have a full hour Q&A with Bob, so get your questions ready and plan to be back here with us at 11 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. You can find the replay for this broadcast and all of the training segments this week right here on our YouTube channel. On